All right, guys, it's the moment you've been waiting for. Current events, and they're back, better than ever. And when I say better than ever, seriously, they're better than ever. So as we get going into current events again, and have those take us through the rest of our continued learning, you guys will be doing a current event each week, but they're going to look a lot different than what you're used to from when we were back in school. One of the biggest differences that you guys will notice here with current events is that we're not going to ask you to submit any summaries to us. So you don't have to do any written paragraphs or anything like that. We will still expect you guys to fill out the who, the what, the when, the where, the why, and we have a specific form set up for you guys to do that. It's been tweaked a little bit and changed a little bit, but overall it should look pretty familiar for you. So as we get into our current event lesson, one thing that we should remember is what is a current event? And when we think about current events, we have to think about events that are timely, events that are happening right now or within maybe a week time period, and events that are relevant to multiple people or large groups of people. So while something like a pancake eating contest in North Dakota is really cool and fun to write about, let's try to find some things that are a little bit bigger. When you click the link in the menu, it's going to take you to our Weebly. Again, this is your Wednesday lesson. It's our current event day. So we've got the lesson link, which you're watching right now. Your Wednesday lesson handout, you can download that either in Word or PDF. I'm going to use Word today to show you how to type into it as we're going through the article. I've included a link to the article, the Michael Jordan documentary. That's what we'll be looking at. If you'd like to follow it, you can. I'll also have a copy of it on our lesson. There is a link to CNN 10. You guys will be watching CNN 10 on your own after you go through the lesson. And then lastly, again, don't forget about the survey that you should take at the end of the lesson just to give us a quick gist of your article. So telling us article name, the news source, and then giving us just a quick snippet, maybe 2 sentences or less, of what your article was all about. So one of the big reasons we want to continue with current events through the rest of the year, through the rest of our continued learning, is to help us all stay in touch with what's going on in the world around us. I know that the news is dominated by coronavirus right now. It seems like every news story and every news station or every website is just focusing on that. But I promise you guys that there's good news out there. There's fun news out there. So one of the big challenges for you guys as we continue to go through the rest of our continued learning is to go find that good news and use that in your current event lessons and use that as part of your Google survey. So your agenda today, what we're going to be doing with this lesson. First and foremost, we're going to start out with a read aloud. It is the article that I showed you the link to on the Weebly. It's about the new Michael Jordan documentary. And I'm going to read that out loud to you guys. We'll go through it. And after we get done reading it, we're going to use our current event sheet to map out the article. So we'll look at some of the who, what, when, where, why, and all of that. And I'll show you guys how to map out the story. After that, it's you guys on your own. You can go watch CNN 10, just again to get some snippets of what's going on out in the world right now. Next, I'm going to ask you guys to find your own story. You can read it, you can watch it online, you can, like I said, you can read it on the websites, or you can read it in a newspaper or magazine. Fill out your current event form. If you don't have access to a printer or can't print out the form, absolutely fine. Just grab a separate sheet of paper, fill out the questions that we have on that form for you on the lined piece of paper or separate sheet of paper, and then go ahead and answer those. Afterwards, please don't forget to take the Google survey on the website just so we can see what article you read. We'd like to see the news source, and there's also an opportunity for you guys to just give us a quick snippet of what's going on in your article. So let's get into it. I'd like to ask you a question, and I'd like you to think long and hard about this. Who is the greatest basketball player of all time? There's a lot of names to choose from on that list, but really only one name can stand out to you as being the greatest of all time, and that is Michael Jordan. Better than LeBron, better than Steph Curry. He's got his own patented name, Air Jordan. I mean, how cool is that? Jordan was six-time NBA champion. That's 6 rings. He was six-time NBA Finals MVP, five-time league MVP, 14-time NBA All-Star, the NBA Rookie of the Year, and he earned the defensive MVP once. That's a lot of accolades. On top of all that, he has his own movie with the Looney Tunes called Space Jam. Seriously, if you haven't seen this movie, you have to try to find a way to go see it. So it makes sense that ESPN would put together a documentary highlighting the 1997-1998 Chicago Bulls and Michael Jordan. And that's where we pick up with our current event for today. Okay, so what you'll need for this lesson, the current event sheet that you guys can download from our Weebly. I have downloaded it in Microsoft Word, so I downloaded the Word version of this. You can also download a PDF if you choose to do so. And I'm going to use the Word version to type along as we go through the lesson. Now, like I said before, if you don't have access to a printer, no worries. Just please grab a separate sheet of paper. And as I go through the directions here, feel free to pause the video and just write down the questions on that separate sheet of paper so that you can answer them as we're going through the lesson. Please don't forget to give yourself enough space so that you can fit some answers in below each question. What we will need as we go through the article, we'll need the article title and the source or website that the article came from, okay? Use this current event organizer sheet to help you organize the story you read, watched, or listened to. You do not need to complete a summary for the story, but do need to fill out the assessment on our Weebly. And again, the assessment is just a quick survey telling us the name of your article, the name or the source that the article came from, as well as just a quick summary of that article. For today's purposes or for this lesson's purposes, please do not fill out the Weebly assessment with the Michael Jordan article that we're about to go through. The questions that we're trying to answer today: who are the people involved in the story? What happened? Where is this taking place? Describe a cause or a reason why you believe this event took place. Why do you feel this story is important? And lastly, what are some possible consequences that may take place as a result of this event? So the article we're going to be looking at today is titled Michael Jordan Documentary: The Last Dance is the most viewed ESPN documentary ever. And right below the author's picture, we see his name, Adam Zagoria. Now, it doesn't show you here, but this article actually came from Forbes.com. So if we go to our current events sheet, I filled in the article title, Michael Jordan Documentary: The Last Dance is the most viewed ESPN documentary ever. And our source or website, Adam Zagoria, Forbes.com. Please follow along with me as I read the article, and then when we're all set with this, we'll go back and fill out the current event form, talk through some of the questions a bit, and then we'll head off on our own to watch CNN and finish off the lesson. So here we go. The first part of the article is a picture of Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. We can see in the caption underneath it says Chicago, United States. Michael Jordan left and Scottie Pippen right of the Chicago Bulls talked during the final minutes of their game on 22 May in the NBA Eastern Conference Finals against the Miami Heat at the United Center in Chicago, Illinois. The Bulls won the game 75-68 to lead the series 2-0. So they went up 2-0. With no live sports to watch due to the coronavirus pandemic, fans tuned to ESPN in droves on Sunday night to watch the first 2 episodes of The Last Dance, the 10-part documentary series about Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls' quest to win a 6th NBA title in 8 years. The Last Dance averaged 6.1 million viewers for episodes 1 and 2 across ESPN and ESPN2 from 9 to 11 p.m. on Sunday, according to an ESPN release. Of those 6.1 million, 3.5 million were in the 18 to 49 demographic. Now pause here. The demographic is talking about the age group. So 3.5 million viewers were in that 18 to 49 age group. So this 18 to 49 age group or demographic group is really important to look at. And just in terms of the numbers of people watching, this is the age group that basically grew up with Michael Jordan. I think back to the movie Space Jam that I talked to you guys about at the beginning of this lesson, and that movie came out in 1998, and I was 12 years old, so I was your age when that movie came out. So when they're looking at the groups of people that are watching these documentaries or watching these shows, it makes sense that the largest group would be that age group that was able to witness Michael Jordan, watch him play, experience the Michael Jordan show, so to say. Let's keep going. Episode 1, 9 to 10 p.m., averaged 6.3 million viewers, and Episode 2, 10 to 11 p.m., averaged 5.8 million viewers. In addition to viewership, The Last Dance dominated the conversation on social media. On ESPN alone, the 2 hours averaged 5.3 million viewers, with Episode 1 delivering 5.6 million viewers and Episode 2 delivering 5 million. The premiere episodes rank as the 2 most viewed original content broadcasts on ESPN Network since 2004, surpassing You Don't Know Bo, 3.6 million. It is also the most viewed telecast on ESPN since the College Football Playoff National Championship game. Additionally, The Last Dance ranks as the most watched telecast among adults 18 to 34 and 18 to 49 since sports halted across broadcast and cable networks. The top 5 rated metered markets for ESPN and ESPN2 include Chicago, 12.1 rating, Raleigh-Durham, 6.5 rating, Norfolk, 4.9 rating, Charlotte, 4.7 rating, and Greensboro, 4.7 rating. Now, again, let's pause here really quick. This is a pretty important paragraph, too, because it's showing where most viewers or the biggest market for viewers were. Obviously, Chicago is going to be the biggest market because the Bulls are in Chicago, and Michael Jordan is known for being with the Bulls, even though towards the end of his career he played for some other teams. But then he also played college ball in North Carolina. And when we look at some of these cities, Raleigh-Durham, Charlotte, Greensboro, right, we're talking about cities in North Carolina. So those numbers make sense to us. Let's keep going. Right here, the West Coast. The West Coast Prime re-airs at 12 a.m. Eastern Time, averaged an additional 794,000 viewers, of which 414,000 were in the 18 to 49 demo. Again, the demographic, so the age group. Episode 1 averaged 903,000 viewers, and Episode 2 averaged 685,000 viewers. The Last Dance premiere dominated cultural conversation and interest as the #1 trending topic Sunday on Twitter, and at one point, 25 of the 30 trending topics were all related to the show. It was also the top Google search trend in the US on Sunday. On Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, Last Dance posts from ESPN accounted for a combined 9 million engagements. 2 pre and 2 post digital live shows combined for 3.5 million viewers and 2.6 million minutes. Per my Forbes colleague, Kurt Badenhausen, Jordan is donating his entire share of the proceeds, which should reach at least $3 million to $4 million, to charitable causes. And that's it for the article. Okay, so let's head back to our current event sheet, and we'll get this thing filled out. Question number 1, who are the people involved in the story? Well, we've got Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, ESPN viewers. I also included here mostly in the 18 to 49 demographic or age range. What happened? ESPN released a documentary on Michael Jordan and the 1997-98 Chicago Bulls season. This documentary ended up being the most viewed in ESPN history. So focusing on the what here, right? This whole article is not about Michael Jordan. Okay, the article is all about the documentary that was released and the impact that it's had so far on our society. Where is this taking place? I put in here all across the country. Could possibly be people in other parts of the world too. Describe a cause or reason why you believe this event took place. Well, I think that really we don't see a whole lot of sports on TV right now, so and major sports at least. So this documentary kind of took the placeholder of a sporting event, right? And so it makes sense that more people would be watching this. Number 5, why do you feel this story is important? Well, I think that it highlights the record-setting documentary on ESPN. Now we know that Michael Jordan is the GOAT, greatest of all time. But again, this article is about the documentary setting records and number of viewers, not necessarily about Michael Jordan. Lastly, what are some possible consequences that may take place as a result of the event? This might be a little bit tougher question to answer, a little bit more open ended. I think consequences, the word consequences, sometimes can get a negative connotation going with it. So we could also just think about the effects. What would some possible effects be? One thing that I thought about here was social media, more documentary viewers, more people talking about it on social media. This might cause more people to want to watch it. It might cause more people to be Michael Jordan or Bulls fans. I don't know. Maybe you guys who think LeBron James is the best ever might think differently if you take a look at some highlights. And then lastly, it might inspire someone to create another documentary about either MJ, the Bulls, or maybe some other sports team or something else along those lines. So again, our answers here are very brief. We're looking for short answers just to get the idea, just to get the gist. So that's it for the how to fill out the current event form part of the lesson. The next task for you guys is to go watch CNN 10, and that's just a quick 10 minutes, give you a really good idea of what's going on in the world of news around us. After you finish watching CNN 10, go find a news story. Again, you can read one from online, you can watch a video on a news story, either or works. Some examples of possible websites, you don't have to use these, but they're right up next to me right here. Dogo News, CNN, Time for Kids, ESPN are all fine websites to use for finding articles or news stories. And then fill out your current event form. If you don't have the form printed out, just fill it out on a lined piece of paper. That'll work just fine. And then lastly, take the Google survey on our websites. If you have any questions, please feel free to shoot us an email. And lastly, don't forget that Michael Jordan is the greatest of all time. See you guys next week.